is a short introduction on how to use the IRF World Road Statistics Data Warehouse. Once you've created your account through the register function, you can then log into your account and you will see the various chart types that are available. By hovering over the question mark, you will see examples of what you could do with these chart types. So for example, this one titled Total Metric with Breakdown by Category, you would be able to compare how one metric, such as road network, is composed. So you would be able to see the breakdown between motorway highways versus main or national roads, etc. And you could either choose one country and look at this over time, or you would be able to look at multiple countries for one particular year. And similarly, you would be able to see for all the different chart types example usages of what you would be able to do. So if we take this first example, we can now select the metric we would like to look at. You can scroll down and you see all the different options that have a breakdown available. So of course there are additional metrics that might not be included in this functionality simply because they do not have a breakdown in our system. So here, if we choose total road network by road type, for example, let's pick Africa. I would also be able to select multiple continents here if I wanted to compare several countries at once. But for now, let's just look, for example, at Ethiopia. I can choose the minimum and maximum year, and then if I go on show graph, I will see the chart being displayed. I can then select and unselect the individual indicators depending on what I would like to see. If I would like to zoom in, I can easily do this, and I can reset the zoom. I would be able to look at the information in tabular form for all the different categories. I could view the notes that are applicable to this country and this theme. So for Ethiopia, for road network, we have one road network note available here. And then I would easily be able to go back to the graph. I would also be able to either print this chart or to download it as an image. So for example, if I choose JPEG image, I would then be able to easily open this and save it and use it for whatever I would like to do. I could also open this data as CSV or Excel. So for example, if I open it as Excel, it would then easily look like this. If I wanted to go back to the same chart selection but do something different, I could go on clear selection and I would be taken back to this initial selection pane. So now if, for example, I would like to compare for several different countries, and we could look at road accidents, for example, total persons killed by sex. We could look at Europe as an example, and I can also type countries that I would like to look at. So here, if I go for France, Germany, Italy, Spain, and the UK, I can again go on show graph, and it will then create the graph showing me the breakdown. And of course, as I hover over it, it will tell me how many people were killed and which country I'm looking at. And it will also have the totals for those countries. And again, I could also look at it in tabular form and look at what notes are available for this selection. If I now wanted to look at a different chart altogether, I could click back on the Data Warehouse button, and for example, if I wanted to compare metrics with different units, as an example, I could take Morocco and I could say I want to compare road accidents, and yes, I want to compare values from another theme. So then I could also choose vehicles in use, and then I would be able to see the different indicators that are available. So for example, I could select how total persons killed have developed over time versus for vehicles in use. There are a lot of injury accident indicators here. For vehicles in use, I could take, for example, the total vehicles in use rate by population. And this would then develop a graph with different axes. So the blue line would relate to killed casualties, and again here I would be in the 3000s, and on the right hand side, and the black line would be vehicles per 1,000 population, and here I'm looking at a rate of around 117 vehicles per 1,000 population for the year 2020. Again, I would be able to unselect if, for example, I only wanted to look at one or the other, and I would be able to zoom in if I so wanted. Yes. And I can also choose to start the axis at 0 and reset the zoom if I wanted to. Again, we can go back, and then if instead of the graphs I would like to look at the dashboards, I can then click on this. It will open up a separate tab, and I would then be able to look at various different regions of the world depending on what I'm interested in. So for example, if for North Africa, and I would then be able to select a country from this region. So here let's take the example of Morocco, and the dashboard will automatically adjust and show everything. I can zoom in on the individual charts and would again be able to select and unselect the different items. I could close it. I would also be able to see the income group, the latest population, road network density, and so forth. I could also look at some key indicators, so persons killed per 100,000 population in lower middle income countries in North Africa and in North Africa overall. I would also be able to select injury accidents. And similarly, if we go back, I would also be able to compare countries, and I can either do this by selecting a country straight away from the menu, or I would also be able to first select a region or an income group and then select the countries accordingly. Again, it might take a short second for this to load. So if, for example, for the first one as a region, I take Europe, I say high income, maybe I want to look at Austria in this case, and then as an alternative, again, we could take the example of Morocco, lower middle income, and then I would have this comparison side by side, and the data is just taking a second to upload. I would be able to see the year for which the latest data point is available, and so forth. For more information, visit our website at worldroadstatistics.org.